Patras is the capital of Achaia. Patras is the capital of the region of the West Greece. It was founded in 1041 BC and is still alive for 3000 years, always consisting an important residential center of the whole West Greece. It flourishes in ancient times during the Roman years. Back to these years also dates the Patras ancient Odeon, which can see in the pictures. Patras remains today the center of the most important art events. As centuries go by, it always remains a dynamic center. Patras comes to its second heyday in the 19th century. After being completely destroyed by Turks during the Greek War of Independence, Patras is reborn literally out of its ashes. Its strategic position, its dynamic port, which connects it directly with the West, and its great commercial flourishing give to the city the possibility to develop significantly according to West models. On the basis of its Renaissance urban development plan, it develops into an impressive neoclassical city. Great architects like Ernest Ziller built their buildings in the city. The municipal theatre that we are seeing is one of his creations. Neoclassicism requires the coexistence of all the fine arts, sculpture, painting, metallurgy, miniaturism in one building. Therefore, Patras became a big center for the development of all arts and not only of the plastic arts. It is also the center for the development of theatre and music, a sample of which we are hearing at this moment as an accompaniment. It concerns the symphonic work A Midnight Dream of the composer from Patras, Lialios. Patras has a long tradition in the field of sculpture. Works of great sculptors from Patras and other places decorate the city. However, Patras itself has made known significant artists. Memos Makris. Today, an examination of his entire oeuvre leads to the obvious conclusion that his sculptural sources consist of ancient art combined with the particular personal expressive autonomy he acquired during his stay in Paris. Through his work, he tried to show a different way of linking artistic creation and society, a concept which came to be accepted but remained without dialogue and continuity, and to present a new figurative sculpture that had the virtue of fitting serenely and amicably into nature. Ioannis Tsaganas, one artist who serves through his high, thin figures the abstract expressionismus, great compositions which reproduce collective human activities. The iron turns to poetry. Panos Papapanou, a non-trained sculptor of high sensibility and artistic inspiration thought. Elimination and constructivism are maybe the most important sources for plastic research. We notice a particular capability in the research of place and shape, and also a virtuosity on their regeneration and depiction. What is a catalytic characteristic of the sculptures is the great skill with which topics, materials, and colors are each time combined. Patras has great representatives in the field of painting too. First of all, we have Epaminondas Thomopoulos. Thomopoulos, born in Patras in 1878, aspired to incorporate into Greek painting some of the most fruitful accomplishments of Italian art of the 19th century. This Greek painter was primarily involved with landscape painting and remained faithful to the rendering of the external image, basing himself first and foremost on color values, and thereby achieved a morphoplastic idiom in which the tone was set by a combination of expressive types and decorative formulations. Andreas Vourloumis. My mentors were old masters and some painters who were my contemporaries. Of the former, two in particular influenced me, Dürer and Rembrandt. Of the later, the Impressionists, especially Van Gogh and Cézanne. In fact, Vourloumis had a fondness for the expressive space of the Impressionists, stressing the purely chromatic values, yet not neglecting the subject. Dimitris Biskinis, another important painter. His work reminds something of the ambience of the French symbolism. On the other hand, he tries to give calligraphic formation to the narrativeness of his themes, something which connects him to the German idealism. The younger generation continues with big and dynamic steps too. Nikos Anagnostopoulos is concerned with the idea of metamorphosis. He turns his attention to primitive ages, using the cross symbol in his paintings and constructions and remolding it into sign of uplift, elevation, and expansion. Since a long time ago, Cornelius Gramenos remakes the archetype in order to create images morphologically diversified one with another, although they come from the same matrix. At the irregular wall works of Kostas Panagiotakopoulos, spontaneous incisions and archetypal writings become eternal symbols of communications. Worn materials bearing on their old surface the pass of time, entrance Haris Pressas. He interferes in them and changes their character, composing new images, enriching the past with a new semiological breath. Since 1983, Angelos Kourtis deals with a cross symbol as he attempts to separate it from the traditional cultural interpretations and signs. Ancient, austere, simple sign stands like a universal linguistic code full of memories from the past and the future. Stathis Chrysikopoulos brings to surface symbols of ancient Mediterranean civilizations, raising mainly the Greco-Roman legends and the history. He gives to them shape and creates solemn images with comments about past and present, man and nature, generative cosmogenical forces. It is said that nature gives birth to artists. Patras, lying down nonchalantly on the legs of Panachaico mountain, reaches and touches the shores of the Gulf of Patras with view to the plastic mountains of the opposite coast. In all seasons of the year, nature offers generously its brilliant beauty. As for the evenings, they fade out to wonderful sunsets. In this natural environment, art is always present in the capital of the region of the West Greece.